Well, that
You know,
first testimonial is the hardest one to get, but what I found, and I don't know, maybe I'll ask you too, I'll put the question back on you, where you found the sweet spot is to where after you get that one testimonial, like for us, we found that around the four range, that's when like that's all you needed. You only need like, about four testimonials to where then everybody else will start flooding in because nobody wants to be the first person.
yeah, the first one is so critical, and let me tell you, um, again, the myth is of mass mind control or something like that, where we're just going to put up a website and it's just going to work, or we're going to send out an email broadcast to thousands of people and they're all just going to whip out their wallets. We do what I call face-to-face sales, and by the way, I want to point out, I'm nearly sure, I don't know if it's actually reflected on this site. Yeah, it is. It's right here. This is a really critical piece of real estate as I'm on Bonus Garage. So a key little tip here. Please feel free. This is two paragraphs above Adam's picture on bonusgarage.com. Please feel free to ask any questions by email on our support at bonusgarage.com. Move the spaces, or just click the support tab to the left of the window. And Adam, I believe I know this from the past, but you would get questions in and you would answer them personally, one on one.
Yep. When I first started doing the launch jacking, I knew that I wanted to like take something and again, like you said, we call it that face to face. Like I knew if I wanted a product, I would have questions, pre-purchase questions. If you go into a store and you're shopping, I don't know, let's say at Nordstrom's and you're gonna buy a watch and you have questions about that watch. Don't you want that person to answer your questions right there? You don't want to ask a question and then come back 2 days later and then get the answer and then you might not even want to buy the watch from them anymore. It's like you want to ask the sales guy, well, how long's the battery last and what's the warranty? That's the way kind of like I just took traditional face to face sales and marketing to the website. And I think people underestimate how important having a support tab or a live chat tab on the website is. Yeah, it's a lot of work to answer these things, but our whole goal is, again, like you said, to add value. And if I can take, 2 minutes out of my day to answer some very valid questions, I can use that to two things. One, I'm helping somebody, I might be able to convince them in a good way that this product is good for them and they might actually buy. And then, yes, I do make some money. But what I'll do then is I'll take that question. And if I feel that it will add value to it, I'll take that and I'll throw it into my frequently asked questions. And sometimes coming up with like a FAQ area on a website is one of the hardest things to do if you're not ultra familiar with the product. So you can actually get them to fill in content on your site because they're asking the questions.
Yeah,
And then,
especially if you take something like a screen capture of that question. One of the big
mhm,
things that you'll see in my emails that I send out and on my websites, I do a lot with either videos or screen captures of Facebook questions or Gmail questions.
mhm.
Again, these are trust factors, going taking that little extra step. So if your FAQ is like, Bob asked, blah blah blah, how long does the watch battery last? Great
Yeah.
question, Bob. And then you answer it right there. People respect what you inspect. Okay.
Hmm.
And I add something to this. People respect what you inspect, especially you. And here's what I mean by this: we're training ourselves. We create our own boundaries. It's not even that we're training ourselves. We create our own boundaries, and by our boundaries, we're showing ourselves what we want. And so, if Adam and I have a passion to answer a question about a watch battery or about a bonus for an internet marketing launch or whatever, we clear our schedule. We create boundaries in our life, so we have the time to do that. Then, then if we do that, we're showing ourselves what's important to us, that making the sale is important to us. And then we're going to show our customers and our prospects that we care about that. So going back to that first testimonial I got for my magic product, the kid who came in the membership area and said, this is a great product. Well, he didn't even say this is a great product. He said, wow, this is a lot of stuff. The funny thing about that was that I made the sale of the product to that kid face to face as well. I was on Magic Online playing. He saw me playing against somebody else. I had like a little thing in my biography saying, hey, I've got a little training area that can teach you how to play Magic better. He asked me about it, and I got him to buy the product. Like I convinced him to buy it. And so I made a literal face-to-face, well, not literal face-to-face, a virtual face-to-face sale of the product. I asked him how he liked it. He told me how he liked it. I put out that email to everybody else, right? People
Yeah.
respect what you inspect. I put that email out. then the train started rolling. Then once I had, like Adam's saying, 3 or 4 testimonials now that I can put out there, that's when what I call annihilation engine starts. This unstoppable advantage where you're just blowing everybody else off the map. Like really, there is no such thing as competition. Once people come to your space, and it's just a world of testimonials and bonuses and events and like I'm saying, FAQs and a really good looking experience. I mean, pretty soon you're just a little bit better than everyone else at everything. And then if you can pick one thing that you're a lot better at, if your bonus is a lot better, or if your testimonials are a lot better, if your customer service is a lot better, if the look of your website is a lot better, at some point you really can go over the top. And that's where, it's funny, Adam, you said answering those emails is hard work, but again, like we're always taking the shortcut. Like, it's not like Adam and I are like, gonna go grab a shovel and start digging ditches, right? Like, that's hard work.
Yeah. Been there, done that. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what do you think about? Can you give us some insight? I want to talk about contests, and events, but first I want to talk about list building. Do you have any
let's
thoughts?
go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, list building, I kind of get laughed at in the industry sometimes when I tell people this, but I have never really focused my business on list building. And I know that I'm going to get a lot of slack from this every time I say it, but some of the industries that I was initially going into, I tested list building and they didn't work. They just did not, they just failed in their, just in the principle at which I was applying them, it just did not work. And later, I thought it was my approach to things, but later I talked to some guys in the industry that had, basically just destroyed markets, like I am now, and they said that list building didn't work in that market space either. So sometimes list building just doesn't work.
Nice.
And list building is great, but for me, I just haven't focused my attention on that. I personally don't have a lot of time just like to read emails, and I have 100 emails today, maybe even more, sitting there where I could put my attention onto. But again, like I like that face-to-face more. I like more the interaction.
Yeah, and this is a really cool point of distinction, because I've built hundreds of thousands of persons worth of lists, tens of millions of dollars from that. Really notice that you don't have to do everything. So now we're talking about an area where I'm particularly strong and particularly developed, and it's just not Adam's forte, and then that's that. And it's no big deal. It's not like if he then started doing list building, then he would double or triple his money. I mean, maybe he would, but the point is he's going to double and triple his money anyways. It's just a question of what path he's going to take to do that. So, number one, apparently there are industries, like I'm saying, where list building is, where nobody yet has cracked the nut on it. Right. And
yeah, there's just some industries where the people in that market space just don't want to read emails.
Yeah, and I can imagine like I don't know, like, I'll just throw something out there. I've never been in this market. Maybe I should have been, but I've never been in porn. I can imagine that being in porn, it's probably pretty hard to get a really good relationship going with a list situation. Maybe there is. Maybe there's somebody who has done it.
If your email even makes it to the client.
Right, exactly, because you're just going to have some issues with that as well. Now, one of the things that you're able to do, though, is normally I think in order to do good with events, I think about list building being intrinsic to that, but you've actually done a great job having these on-page contests and events where it feels very alive on the page. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so list building, I don't say that I don't do it, just to clarify that. I do it, but I just do it in a very kind of targeted, and I don't know if the clever is the right word for it, but just in a way that is a little bit different than everyone else is doing it. And one of those ways is I really like contests, and I like user engagement. And so we come up with ideas, and sometimes I don't know how to approach a market, and I pull on my past experiences, but like we're in a market right now that's kind of new for us, and within 6 months we own this market space. Like we've came in and really just taken over. And one of the things that was really sweet about that is that we started using contests to springboard and leverage basically what we had available to people. And it was so simple, because we contacted the people that we were promoting for, and we said, we have this idea, we want to do some contests, can you send us some free product? But when I asked for the product, I asked for like a lot, and they never replied to my email in the beginning. And so I'm like, okay, I get it. I haven't proven myself yet to these people, because I know that when I come in, I'm going to do everything. I want total domination.
Yeah.
I know that my
It
success.
was almost like you tried to trade up early, and the
Yep.
springboard step wasn't there yet. So you had to kind of go back and get your foot in the door first.
Exactly. I had to get my foot in the door. So I built it up, and then I revisited that idea later, and then they said, absolutely, we're gonna get on the phone with you. Like everything started happening, right?
Yeah.
And then within like literally the next day, they FedExed overnight all the stuff to us.
Wow.
So yeah, overnight
How
FedEx.
much money worth of retail value was it?
It was about $4,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and our next shipment, which will be coming here next week, is around $8,000 of total free product that we're giving away.
So they've doubled down. Like not only did they do it once, but they were so happy with what you're doing that they literally
Yes.
doubled down.
Yeah, they're ready for us to do it again,
and what
because
are some of the mechanics?
Yeah.
This is a contest that's actually happening on the blog or on the web page, or like, is that correct?
Yeah. So let me explain kind of how we do it. What we do is we want to capture the lead. If somebody's not going to do a purchase, what we do is we want to capture the lead. So we're doing list building, and when we have a contest on the page, let's say we're going to give away something, and we say that they have to. They can enter by doing one of many things. And there's a website that I don't have the URL for right now, but I'll get it for you guys. But a company that I've been following for about 2 years now with contests is Zagg, ZAGG.com. And you can just type in Google Zagg space contest, and they run monthly contests.
Okay, so I'm typing in Google.com. I'm going to Google, and I'm typing Zagg.com. And it's kind of coming up. iPads, cases.
Okay, so here's it's zagg.com/community/contest.php.
Okay, so www.zagg.com/contests.
No, /community, then /contest.php. So if you're listening to this, or when you do, visit this site, and they don't have contests running all the time.
It's saying, is it contests or contest?
Contest with just the T, no S.
Okay, got it.
Actually, here, I'll send it over.
I got it. I'm there.
Okay. So you can see, like right now, they don't have a contest running, and it's over, and they just finished something. But normally, when you come to this page, you can enter into the contest by entering your email. That's like the first point of entry. Just drop an email, boom, you're automatically entered in, right?
Right.
The next below that then is more user engagement, and what they have is they have these little icons next to them, and we've kind of been modeling these guys, and it's been working out amazing. You get one entry by an email, okay? You get one entry if you do something on Twitter. So there's a little button down there, and so you don't necessarily have to enter in your email address, but guess what? You do, because they won't allow you to do the second phase of user interaction unless you enter the email. So you have to do step one.
Yeah.
So boom, right off the bat.
And they're listing their previous winners here as well.
And they're listing their previous winners. So one, you enter in your email address, boom, it automatically unlocks the next phase where you get more entries. Twitter is an additional entry. Facebook, which apparently they feel has more value, you get 2 entries. And then Pinterest or G+, they bounce back and forth, get an additional entry. So every single day you can come to the website and get like up to 4 entries. Mm-hmm. What's cool about that is, and once we started first testing this, is you get people that get hellbent or really addicted to these contests, and they become your raving fans in a sense.
Yeah.
They're out there preaching the word for you and helping you on some of these social
Yeah,
platforms.
and a lot of times on Facebook, like they'll have like 100 friends or 500 friends or 1,000 friends, So when they're
Exactly.
entering these contests, it can kind of hook somebody else.
Oh, we've seen the metrics we've seen is we get massive return from just one person that has a big following. Then they come to the site, and it hits when it gets to a point. If you have a really good contest running and it really comes off as genuine, and people really feel like they're gonna, so there's gonna be a real winner. We just ran a contest. We gave away a $500 gift card in a market space, and the lady that won told us that initially she didn't believe that it was for real. She thought it was a joke basically, but she did it anyway because there were so many other people entering. Because we did a little fun thing where we had like little testimonials, and like you said, we had little screen captures of other people that had Facebook and Twitter. So initially, we might not even have did a great job, but there's so many junk contests on the internet that she didn't even believe that she was the winner.
That's funny.
So, yeah, so I had this whole dialogue with her back and forth, and you actually just sparked something with me. I'm going to take, with her consent, of course, I'm going to take those email messages that I have, and I'm going to throw them back on our next contest,
Yeah.
and really see. But in the long run, though, she sent us. She didn't want to do a video. She said she didn't have a video face, but she ended up sending us all these pictures of all this stuff she had bought with this $500 gift card,
Aw, that's nice.
and yeah, and she said it was her
Well,
birthday.
and that's something I want to remind people of. Testimonials can come in the form of Gmail screen captures. Testimonials. Here, I just want to just do something here real quick. Go to system preferences and want to actually not system preferences. I want to go to force quit. So I've got a rogue on Facebook. Sometimes I start getting hit up on Facebook. I just want to close it on Safari.
No worries.
Force quit. Okay, great. All right, I'm back with you. So one of the things I've learned over the years, again with trust factors, is that testimonials can come in many forms. They can be audio testimonials. Getting a video testimonial, it's not even necessarily the best kind of testimonial. It's just whatever's best for the situation. Facebook testimonials can be great. Twitter testimonials can be great. Gmail, you get something in your Gmail inbox. That's a trust factor. People, know about Gmail or Hotmail or whatever. If you take a screen capture of it, it makes it much more real than if you just type in the text from somebody. You can even get written letters in. My friend Travis Sago, who does Magic of Making Up and Girl Gets Ring and Bum Marketing, he has some real heartfelt letters that people have written to him that are handwritten letters, and he'll show them in his videos, like that handwritten letter. I love that. I think that is so cool.
Handwritten anything is amazing because in the world we live in now, like nobody takes the time to write these things down. If somebody actually took the time to write a letter about a heartfelt experience and then send that in and take the time to put a stamp on it and mail it, I mean, that's like gold.
Another thing that you're getting, there's a real, I totally agree with you. There's a real SEO implication to the kinds of things that Adam and I are doing, because we're sucking people in. We're getting more time on site. We're getting more clicking, lowering our bounce rate. So people are just interacting with our sites. They're playing our videos. They're submitting stuff, and it's just also a little bit of a viral spread. If you're getting people that, they're tweeting you, retweeting you and hitting you up on Facebook and linking back to your site, you're getting this much more of an organic, real spread. Again, it's natural. It's like, Greg
I'm
and
glad you
I are
brought
all,
that up.
what's that?
I said I'm really glad you brought that up. That's actually a really good point that I didn't mention that is really important. I mean, that's time on site, natural, all that stuff. And even with these contest things, we wanted to add more time on site on the contest thing. And the last contest we ran for that $500 gift card, it kind of had slow legs to it. But we filmed a little video, kind of a funny little video in the office, and we threw it up there explaining basically what the contest was. And once we did that, it was like the time on site was way longer because people were watching the video.
Yeah.
So if you want to, add time on site, add it doesn't have to be something special, but it's something somebody wants to watch. And the great thing and I don't even know what this is called, but I was just learning with somebody that's really into psychology, but minds have kind of like this broken element in there where they always want to have conclusion to something. So if you're watching a video or even a movie when it's a bad movie, there's people that will just watch the movie till the end because they got to know what,
Yeah,
the end
this is the
is.
purpose of a cliffhanger. This is how
Yeah.
this is how TV shows like Lost just go on and on and on and on because they just one cliffhanger after another cliffhanger after another cliffhanger. The way David Mills watches 24 with his wife, he's so funny. They'll just watch until like, you know, 10 minutes into the next episode because it's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
way to stop.
Exactly. But it's you sparked something with me that I've never tried before. But one of the things I thought just that hit me is that when you have that video, you could put a cliffhanger in the end of that first video to go to the next page. And
Yeah.
one of the real big algorithm changes right now with Google is that they don't want somebody just to come to the page and then read something and then bounce.
Yeah,
They want to
we're
see if
big
somebody's
in
going to the next page.
interlinking. Yeah, interlinking is so important. And one of the things, hopefully, that you're getting out of watching this experience with me and Adam is that there's a certain kind of high level. When I say high level, I'm just obviously Adam and I are world masters at internet marketing. That's just the bottom line. Like we've moved millions of dollars worth of product and helped a lot of people along the way, just like Greg has, just like David Mills has, and other guys like Jason Calori and so forth. And the thing is, when we talk, this is how we talk. Like this isn't. We're not putting on airs here. We're not following a script. This is just us bouncing things back and forth, and you're getting to experience what our dialogue is like. And if you want better results, you want to seek out dialogues like this. You want to be in high level groups. If you're on a great Facebook group like the NHB Facebook group, then this is how we try to target the dialogue there. If you're in our special Endgame Yahoo group, this is why we want high level dialogue. And this is also why I discourage any kind, in fact, not just discourage it, I don't allow any kind of whining or negativity, complaining about customers. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, I want to make this better, but we just, no drama. Adam, I don't believe you and I have ever had any drama over anything, any talk about anybody doing anything wrong. Like, who cares?
No.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah, I just don't have time for negativity in my life and in my business. It's like I'm always finding for a path of least resistance and positivity. And some people, do have, negative intent, and they just, that's just the way they like to operate, and that's okay. But that's not how you and me and a lot of your customers and friends and business acquaintances like to. We like to perpetuate positive elements at all angles.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that bad things, or negative things don't enter into our reality on a daily basis, because they do. I mean, we all have our trials and tribulations.
The
God.
point is that there's already plenty of scarcity in the world without making more. Especially with online marketing, we're in an abundance game. It's very much about natural law. Like you get back what you're putting out. So the more good things we're putting out there, one of the big aha moments. If you got, hopefully you got your pen and paper here. I'll, grab some paper and, I'll do it with you. I'll just write down value. Like this is really about value, about creating, or create value. Bonus, event, contest. Okay, user experience. These are things that are important, and I just wrote them down, so you can write them down too. There's no reason not to. These are things that Adam and I and Greg and David and our people, especially focus in on. Can you? The one thing I'd really like to wind up talking about. You've been incredibly generous with your time as always, Adam. Can you talk to me? You're one of the people who I think of. When I hear the word outsourcing, then you're one of the people who sparks to mind. I hear a lot, like when you're talking here, you say, we are doing this, we are doing that. You've done a particularly top-notch job at having a limited amount with employees and certainly a lot of success with outsourcing. What are some of the key principles that you follow, and what are some of the dead ends to look out for?
Okay, so one of the things lately that I've been focusing on with outsourcing is, and in the beginning, it was just me doing everything. I was working a full-time job, 8 hours a day, and then I would come home at night and I work 8 hours for myself. And I did that for, 2 years, into where I really realized that when I made more money in 1 month than I made all year at my job. It was time to to move on, right?
Yeah, sure.
And at the time we had 26 employees, and there's a lot of things to deal with, from a managerial perspective. And I was just kind of like burnt out on managing business. So when I decided to switch on to doing all this online stuff, I wanted it just to be me because I knew I could control me, right?
Yeah.
And that soon became a great failure of thought because sometimes it can't just be you. But if you want it to be just you, that's cool. But for me, I wanted to go even further in my life and my evolutionary process of how much I could get done.
Yeah.
And so outsourcing became kind of like this way for me to leverage something of other people's time to my advantage, in a real positive way. And at the time, I hired a guy through a service, and I was paying him, I think it was $850 back then. And he would do things online for me, and it was amazing.
$850 per month.
It was per month, yeah, but I soon realized that they were actually, this is kind of fast forwarding, but I soon realized that he was actually only getting paid $200, and this company was pocketing the rest, right? So we had a really good relationship over time after about 8 months or something, and I said, how much do you really get paid? And he said, I only get paid $200. So I said, you know what, that's not enough. And I'm not going to ask you to not work, through this service or whatever. But if you ever want to at any point, I'd be willing to pay you a lot more. And I really want to, like my outsourcers, I want to pay them enough to where they're happy, right? I don't want to just barely pay them. So I basically hired this guy, and I started him out double what he was paying. I started him out at $400.